American Horror Story 1984, Episode 4, True Killers. So this one starts with Montana, and she has an aerobics class, which my mother taught aerobics when I was a kid. So I've seen a lot of those outfits coming home. And so then she meets Richard Ramirez, who dances into her class. I don't know what compels him to come in there, but he does. Montana and him bond over her knowledge of what kind of knife he uses. Some guy talks shit to her, so then he murders this guy and displays this dude up in the corner above her locker with his guts hanging out. She gets blood all over her feet, she slaps him across the face, and then forces him or makes him, or I guess he was into it, so I don't know what she's doing here, but she's pushing him down, lick the blood off of my feet. Very disturbing, really cool sequence. I liked it a lot. And then we find out something that I had guessed, that Montana's brother was killed in that wedding massacre of Brooke's fiance losing it, killing not only himself, but Brooke's father and his best man, who he thought she was fucking. And Montana believes that to be true, and it is Brooke's fault why he's dead, so she needs some sweet, sweet revenge. And then we also find out another thing that I had guessed is that Jingles was framed by Margaret. So this for me is interesting because we've got fake Rita here, the psychologist, and she is obsessed with this idea of wanting to see a killer out in the wild. She wants to see him in his natural habitat, see what compels him to do what he does, this and that. And she's actually setting things up. So Brooke has been knocked out, and she breaks herself out of this shed. She weighs like 100 pounds, so I'm not sure how she broke out of there so easily and why she didn't just throw her in a trap if that was the plan all along, but whatever, it doesn't matter. So she gets caught in this freaking Dutch predator trap. Dutch and crew and Predator throw out all these traps. It looks very similar to something like that. I guess she can do that. A psychologist, I guess, is trained in freaking Green Beret tactics or whatever the hell Dutch and his crew were. I don't know. He eats Green Berets for breakfast in Commando, so I don't know if Green Berets are as tough to Arnold, but anyway, staying on track here. What I found interesting about this is that, so Margaret, we find out, is responsible for framing Jingles. And so with that comes the idea of making a killer. So what fake Rita, I can't remember what she says her actual name is, but I'm going to call her fake Rita. Fake Rita, what she's obsessed with is, as I said, seeing him out in the wild, but then she puts Brooke out there as this captured, easy, fish in a barrel kind of scenario. And she wants to kind of gauge whether or not it's the desire for an actual kill, and they'll take it any way they can get it, or is it the desire for the hunt? And there's animals like that where if you put them in captivity and you only feed them dead things, they'll get depressed and starve themselves because they have to hunt. It's like this desire in them to hunt. Otherwise it's just why bother? Why eat? It's taken everything away from me. This is all I want. So that's a very interesting case study. And of course it's not a one size fits all kind of experiment. Just because Jingles is like that doesn't mean all serial killers will be like that, but for her research in this one scenario, and who knows, maybe this isn't the freaking first time she's ever done this, for all we know. But that all being said, what I found a little more interesting, and what I think her character would find very interesting, is the whole notion of, can a serial killer be made? Because that's kind of the age-old question, right? What makes someone a serial killer? Is it, the nature or nurture? Is it the social environments? Is it the upbringing? Is it a genetic predisposition? Is it a chemical imbalance? Is it, so on and so forth? What makes them snap? What makes someone like me, who has anger issues at times and is, prone to fights at times, stuff like that. But what compels these people to go that one step further or two steps further, whatever it is, and kill? That is a very interesting question. But can someone be made? I think, yeah. I mean, I think the way that's presented in here, this is a guy that came back from Vietnam. He's already kind of mentally compromised in that way. He's probably got some form of shell shock or post-traumatic stress, although I think in Vietnam it was still being referred to as shell-shocked, because before that it was battle fatigue, and then I think later on it was PTSD. But yeah, so I think he would have been shell-shocked at that point, and he would be very easily susceptible to suggestion, especially when you're being shocked and told by professionals that you are the killer, and your memory would follow suit. You would start filling in the blanks, and she framed his ass. He was an easy target, and I think that's an extremely interesting case study for this psychologist lady. She just doesn't know its existence at this point, but if she did, I think she would find that very, very fascinating, because I know I sure as shit do. Anyways, so those were kind of the two things that I had guessed that ended up coming true here. And then we've got Chet, and Chet has blacked out, and so Trevor and Xavier are trying to figure out what to do, and then they go full freaking Mia Wallace on him and bring the plunger down. Boom. Not 3 times like Eric Stoltz maybe had recommended to freaking Vincent Vega there. But no, he didn't. I gotta stab her 3 times? No, you gotta fucking stab her 3 times. Oh, I love that goddamn scene. But yeah, this time it takes a little longer for this epinephrine to activate his heart. But when he comes forward and all the blood squirts out of his wound, I thought that was fantastic. Probably not so good for him because he's already blacked out from blood loss. I did find it kind of weird that they were like, hey, Trevor's like, lay here. I'm gonna go look for Margaret and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you're too weak to stand up. And then Trevor goes and confronts Margaret. And then later, freaking Chet is just walking around with Trevor there. I thought that was very odd. I was like, okay, you're just with him now? You're okay to stand up? He looks pretty strong when they catch him. I'm like, it was just a weird cut. I thought they weren't supposed to go back to him until they were ready to go. Or maybe he just needed to lay there until they could get help. But he's just up. I thought it was a very odd cut. Nothing bad, but anyways. And then we finally get to see where Birdie is. She's in there making bologna sandwiches, bologna. And Xavier tries to tell her what's going on. Jingles comes in, and she tries to make him a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I think she's the real psychopath in this, because what does she do? She puts peanut butter on one side of the bread. This is a 2-bread sandwich, right? She puts peanut butter on one side and then jelly on the same side, and then puts the bread on. Who the fuck does that? A psychopath does that, okay? You peanut butter one side, and the other piece you jelly, and then you pop them together. Is anybody with me on this? Okay, that's like some ODC. Come on, some OCD shit. But I don't know. There's people like that. Like, it's like the whole like putting the milk in the bowl before the cereal. Like, what kind of a psychopath does something like that? It doesn't really bother me, but it irks me a little bit. I don't know why. It shouldn't. So I'll probably drop it because I can't stand when things get the best of me. I just saw it and I was like, "Ooh, why are you doing that? Don't do that. That's terrible." That's like making a sandwich and putting just the mayo and the mustard for like your, roast beef, whatever the hell you're having, on one side of the bread and not on the other. The other side's going to just be all super dry. I don't know. It's weird. At least with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, there's nothing in between. So the jelly does hit the other side of the sandwich. I'm talking about a fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwich for like a full minute here. I don't know. Just... All right. So after Birdie's attacked and freaking Xavier is locked in an oven. Could you imagine being locked in an oven? In a fucking oven that isn't fully heated up yet. It's just slowly going up a degree or two at a time. That is just terrifying. And then Birdie comes and lets him out, and she's the one that wants to die. I feel like Xavier in that moment should be the one that wants to die. His face is all boiling up. His skin is like coming off of his arms. He would be in agony. All right? It'd be straight up the freaking molester baldy dude from Sleepaway Camp kind of pain. And Birdie's the one that wants to die because she was stabbed a few times. Not saying that what's going on with her is not bad. It is, but I feel like Xavier should be the one that's like, no, you kill me. And then he decides, which I mean, I don't know what I would actually do in these kinds of scenarios, but I would be like, no way. Like, you were still alive. It's possible. If you would have saw freaking Chet earlier, you would think he was dead, and we brought him back. He can make it. You can make it. And if she gives you any more guff, just knock her out if you can. I know that's easier said than done in the movies. It just makes it look easy, and you fucking kill the girl. But regardless, no way. But if you are going to do it, don't slowly push the knife into her fucking heart. Actually go full Eric Stoltz, where Vega's freaking confusing and is like, stab her 3 times. Yes, stab her 3 times. In this scenario, stab her fast and a lot. Just get it over with. He slowly pushes it in. It kind of reminds me of in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake with Jessica Biel, when she goes and her buddy's up there and he's got like his leg cut off and he's like, kill me, and she like slowly pushes it into him and starts screaming, and it's like, kill the guy quick. Oh my god. She wants to die because she's in agony, and you're just gonna put her in more agony? Jesus, my god. Anyway. Alright. And I already talked about all that shit. Where's this ghost? What happened to the ghost? He's been missing a while, so I'm just curious on where the hell he went. So the killers get into their fight. They're going back and forth, blah, blah, blah. And boom. Ramirez gets impaled through the back of the neck, out the mouth. Gorgeous kill. That was fucking phenomenal. I actually jaw dropped. I was like, that was badass, awesome stuff, man. Excellent. And then, yeah, we found out that Margaret cut her own ear off, freaking Vincent Van Gogh style. That's some hardcore shit. And then she shoots Jingles to death? I don't know. Did he die? Because Ramirez is brought back at the end of this. Was Jingles brought back? Now, Jingles looks like he's pretty injured, and Ramirez looks like he is completely recovered. So what we know of the hiker guy that brought back, they hit with the car, the ghost guy I was just referencing, he's brought back multiple times to be killed over and over again. So will everyone come back? I don't think so, because the original girls who were killed in 1970 never came back. The hiker's the only one that came back because he had a secret that he needed. As I said, I think it might have to do with unresolved issues. So he needed to come back because he needed to remember why that what he saw, which was obviously Margaret killing everybody. Ramirez comes back because he still needs to kill Brooke for Montana. Jingles needs to get revenge on Margaret for what she did to him. So I'm almost having to wonder if Jingles actually did die in that moment and came back so that he could kill Margaret. But would her desire to kill everyone else there, and when she was killed, would she come back? Now, she says she's doing this all in the name of God, which, I mean, how many wars have been started in the name of God? This ain't nothing new. But Ramirez, his eyes go black when he's brought back. So is this some demonic force? Is this like the devil? Is this some freaking, prequel to Apocalypse? Or like, I don't know what the hell's going on here. So is it ghosts? Is it the devil? Is God involved in this with her? And or is she talking actually to the devil? I have no fucking clue. And then Jingles isn't the killer anymore, so he runs in to Xavier, and he's just like, that isn't me. And then he just walks away, and then Brooke finds him, and then they walk off together. and freaking Margaret kills Trevor, which, will Trevor come back? I mean, will we see him again? I guess it's possible. I mean, anybody who dies in this at this point, now that Ramirez has been resurrected, now we got the ghost guys resurrected, Jingles might have been, like, who can you ever count as dead in this season? Which is kind of lame in a way, because that's like one of the issues with watching some shows. It's like they can never actually kill people off for real. Like if you've ever watched a CW show, like the Arrowverse shit, like if they kill a character, don't worry, just wait a couple weeks, they'll be back in some capacity, whether it's like some alternate universe version of them or some time traveler or something. It's like that character's coming back, like just give it a week. So to have these characters die, it's like, well, when is Ramirez gonna actually be dead? Now that he can just continue to come back and like Wolverine heal himself, I mean, he's an unkillable killer, and that's something I never really cared for in the Friday the 13th franchise, as I sit here with a fucking Jason X shirt on, and he's indestructible in that, but you know what I mean, like, when you can't defend yourself, it starts to take away the tension, because you're just like, well, she can't win, or he can't win, they can't win, this thing's unkillable, it just can keep resurrecting and coming back, so I don't know, it takes a little bit out of it, but they went with that, and they went in that direction. The whole supernatural angle, I'm not really sure it's necessary, personally, just from the story as it goes. I feel like they could have done without it altogether. But it's here, so we got to deal with it. The campers are coming at sunrise, which I think we're actually going to see them. I'm glad to say I do not believe this is all going to be one night. That said, with Brooke knowing that fake Rita is in on it, with freaking Montana knowing, but she's kind of got her own hidden agenda, so she's not going to be the one to speak up. But Brooke, she's not going to just sit there, and everyone's dead. The kids are just going to show up and like, oh, you know, your bunk's over there. Just make sure you step over that guy's dead body and make a right at the dead, you know, two dudes over. Like, they can't come, but when they come, what's it going to be like? Anyways, I like that Birdie's listening to Leather and Lace by Stevie Nicks. A little callback to Stevie Nicks from Coven and whatnot. I thought that was pretty cool. Predictions, I mean, obviously Jingles is going to want to come back and take Margaret out. Margaret somehow blew up that car, I guess. I don't know how the hell she was able to kill Trevor and shoot Jingles and then get over to that car, which I don't even... You know, yeah, she gets over there. What blows it up with what? I don't know. I'm only assuming that says she blew it up. Where this is heading, what brought Ramirez back, what brings people back, fuck if I know. As I said, unresolved business or deals with, I don't know. That wouldn't, yeah, no, I don't know. We'll see. What do you guys think? I gotta go to bed. Adios.